welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. 2016 NCAA Week 2 preview against the spread, over-under picks. Looks like we got 36 games I'm going to cover this week, 26 last week, so probably try to stay between 25 and 40, then they wrote somewhere. Make sure you take a look at my top 25 rankings for week 2 and see what you think, and throw me a comment if you like, agree, disagree, whatever. I have a matrix that I'm going to follow this year and try to do all each week and see how close I get to the true playoff format, the committee. My guess is I'll probably be within 1 or 2 teams of the committee, but hey, whatever. Alright, first game we're going to go over is the 13th ranked Louisville Cardinals. First is the Syracuse Orange. Both teams are 1-0. Louisville's favored by 14.5. With an over-under of 68. I got them covering and under. Next, we have the Nichols, Colonel, something like that. First game of the year for them. Versus the 9th ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, the Bulldogs will bulldog right over them. Next, we have the UCF, University of Central Florida Knights at 1-0 versus the 5th ranked Michigan Wolverines at 1-0. Michigan's favored by 35.5 with an over/under of 55.5. I think University of Central Florida will cover the 35.5 and take an under on the 55.5. Next, we have the Penn State Nittany Lions at 1-0 versus the Pittsburgh Panthers at 1-0. Pittsburgh favored by 6 with an over/under of 48.5. Pittsburgh covers and over on the 48.5. Next, we have the Lamar Cardinals at 0-1 versus the 1-0 6th ranked Houston Cougars. Houston Cougars win. Next, we have the 1-0 Wyoming Cowboys versus the 1-0 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Cornhuskers are favored by 2 touchdowns plus a field goal and over/under of 58. I got Wyoming covering. I don't think they'll win by 3 touchdowns and a field goal. I think they'll only win by 3 touchdowns. And so Wyoming covering the 24 and under on the 58. Next, we have the Central Michigan Chippewas at 1-0 versus the 22 ranked 1-0 Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma favored by 3 touchdowns with an over/under of 61. I'll cover the 3 touchdowns and over on the 61. Next, with the Prairie View A&M Panthers versus the 20th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. Both teams 1-0. 20th ranked Aggies win that one. Next, we have the Troy Trojans at 1-0 versus the 2nd ranked Clemson Tigers at 1-0. Clemson favored by 36 points. The point total is 63.5. I got Troy covering the 36 and over on the 63.5. Next, we have the Charleston Southern Buccaneers 1-0 versus the 3rd ranked Florida State Seminoles at 1-0. Florida State wins. Next, the Stony Brook Seawolves versus the Temple Owls. Both teams 1-0. Temple wins. Youngstown State Pelicans. Yeah, I don't know. Pelicans, or not Pelicans, excuse me. Whatever. 1-0 versus West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia's going to stomp with a fuck all over them and kill them, so whatever. The Utah State Aggies at 1-0 versus the USC Trojans at 0-1. USC is favored by 16.5, 59.5 on the points. I actually think I can't talk today, can't pronunciate anything today. I think the Trojans at USC will win this game. And I think Utah State will cover the 16.5 and take an under on 59.5. Next, with the Georgia State Panthers at 0-1 versus the Air Force Falcons at 1-0. Air Force favored by 18. Georgia State covers that and take an under on the 56.5. Ohio Bobcats at 0-1 versus the Kansas Jayhawks at 1-0. Jayhawks favored by 3, 59.5 on the points. And Jayhawks will cover the 3 over on the 59.5. Kentucky Wildcats at 0-1 versus the Florida Gators at 1-0. Florida favored by 16. Then they're going to cover that and take over on the 47.5. Nevada Wolfpack at 1-0 versus the 18th ranked 0-1 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Was that just a shame? Double overtime loss to Texas for Notre Dame. They threw up fucking some points in that game. I got Notre Dame winning this. They're favored by 20.5. I got Nevada covering the 28, excuse me, they're favored by 28. So favored by 4 touchdowns. I got Nevada covering the 4 touchdowns. I'm taking under on the 60.5. I doubt they're going to put the points up they did last week. I maybe completely wrong with that. I hope they do, but Tulsa Golden Hurricane at 1-0 versus 4th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes at 1-0. Ohio State favored by 29.5. I'm taking them to cover that. I'm taking under on the 72.5. It might be 70-0 or 67-3, so I'm taking under on the 72.5. Next, the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers at 1-0 versus the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide at 1-0. Favored by Alabama's favored by 4 touchdowns. I have them covering the 4 touchdowns. I'm taking over on the 58.5. This game could get out of hand quick because Alabama just cruised their way to a Week 1 victory. They put the hammer down. Good Lord knows what the Nick Saban offense is going to do with Lane Kiffin and everything. So next with the Southern Methodist Mustangs versus the 23rd ranked Baylor Bears at 1-0. Baylor's favored by 32. SMU covers at 32. I'm taking under on the 76. The Akron Zips 1-0 versus the 10th ranked Wisconsin Badgers at 1-0. Wisconsin favored by 24. They cover. I'm taking over on the 44. Wolford Terriers 1-0 versus 19th ranked Ole Miss Rebels at 0-1. Ole Miss wins. Idaho Vandals at 1-0 versus the 8th ranked Washington Huskies at 1-0. Huskies favored by 37. I got Idaho covering the 37, taking over on the 60. Florida Atlantic Owls 1-0 versus 25th ranked Miami Hurricanes at 1-0. Miami favored by 24. They cover. I'm taking over on the 58.5. Morgan State Bears at 0-1 versus the Marshall Thundering Herd 0-0. Marshall wins. South Carolina Gamecocks at 1-0 versus the Mississippi State Bulldogs at 0-1. Mississippi State favored by 6.5, and they'll cover that 6.5. Taking over on the 44.5. Louisiana Monroe Warhawks at 1-0 versus the 14th ranked Oklahoma Sooners at 0-1. Oklahoma favored by 46.5. They cover. I'm taking over on the 65. Arkansas Razorbacks at 1-0 versus the 15th ranked TCU Horned Frogs at 1-0. TCU favored by 7.5. They cover. I'm taking under on the 58.5. UTEP Miners at 1-0 versus the 11th ranked Texas Longhorns at 1-0. Texas favored by 28. They cover. I'm taking over on the 58.5. Iowa State Cyclones at 0-1 versus the 16th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes at 1-0. Iowa favored by 14.5. They cover. I'm taking over on the 51. Jacksonville State Gamecocks at 1-0 versus 21st ranked LSU Tigers at 0-1. I hope LSU can win this after the loss in Week 1 by 2 points. I hope that's not going to be their whole season. BYU Cougars at 1-0 versus Utah Utes at 1-0. Utah favored by 3.5. They cover. I'm taking under on the 45.5. Virginia Tech Hokies at 1-0 versus 17th ranked Tennessee Volunteers at 1-0. Tennessee favored by 11.5. Cover that. Over on the 54.5. Virginia Cavaliers at 0-1 versus the 24th ranked Oregon Ducks at 1-0.